Welcome to another episode of Charge the Line with your host Roger Narvaez and my good buddy Tony Perez. Today we have somebody who I've known for a little bit, somebody that I see in the gym regularly when I was going to the athletic club. Somebody that takes pride in their fitness, that is also a mother, a wife, has competed in bodybuilding competitively, and at one point was actually a assistant kickboxing coach at our gym in Corpus. So today we're going to bring on the show Cecilia Orozco. Is that how you say the last name?
Arroz con pollo, Orozco, whatever's
there you
easier.
go. Yeah, that works. So appreciate you joining us. I know you're very busy, especially with your new role with the city, right?
It's been pretty busy. Enjoying it though. I think I'm taking on the new challenges. I'm not saying that the kids like it so much just because they're like, "Where's dinner? We're expecting dinner at this time." But no, just need to maneuver a little bit better. But moving along.
Awesome. So, what led you into getting that position? For those of you watching on YouTube and listening, she just got announced officially. I don't know when you actually got hired on, but I know officially they announced you as the assistant director of communications. Is that the right title?
Yep,
Assistant
that's the right
director of communications for our city. And man, that's got to be exciting for you.
It's pretty exciting. I think it's also a little bit scary in a sense because you've got a lot of responsibility. We've got a pretty big team that we want to lead. There's a lot of, I guess, people watching. You're in the limelight. You're in the spotlight. You're always getting watched. And of course, communications. It's what is the city up to? We have to answer for everything. There's potholes. We've got to answer to it. There's an issue going on with your trash carts. We're answering for it. But at the same time, we've got the opportunity to paint the picture that Corpus is moving forward. You know, the city's growing. We're doing positive things. Fire, the police department, all of our departments, honestly, the 29 departments that we got, they're doing a difference, making a difference.
Yeah. That's I can imagine. I mean, people are always quick to talk shit about the city and everything that they're not doing, right? But being behind the scenes, I'm sure is a little different. And before you got this job, what were you doing before that? Has this always been kind of a goal for you in getting into kind of the governmental positions in the city, or is this kind of just this something that kind of just presented itself to you?
I'd say a little bit of both. Initially, I started off going to college to get my biomedical sciences degree. I wanted to be a pharmacist or a doctor. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get my biomedical sciences degree. Got that done. Did some rotations at the hospital. Quickly learned that was not for me. It was not for me. I passed out. They wanted to admit me. Couldn't see needles.
So you had completed your schooling.
Yes.
And then
I completed my biomedical sciences. I was
Holy
like,
crap.
I can't do much with this. Let's see what I can actually do. So I decided.
So what about the pharmacy? Like, did you think about going that route?
I did. So I was actually in the pharmacy for 5 years. I was a lead pharmacy tech for CVS. But again, that's another thing. I could not see myself doing that for the rest of my life. Right. Standing at a pharmacy, taking people's prescriptions, fighting for people in their narcotics, opening bathroom restrooms. It was just not for me. So I decided, okay, let's go get my master's. I'll do it in business administration, still be a part of the healthcare scene. But once I was doing that degree, I realized that there's much more to the business realm, and I enjoyed the marketing. I enjoyed the communications, the operations aspect, and that kind of opened it up to other things. That's when I ended up with the Small Business Administration. So I was supporting small businesses locally, but also nationally. And during the time of COVID, there was a lot of businesses that needed support. So we're on the front line providing COVID disaster loans, some grants for those people that are starting their own business or just trying to survive, that kind of thing. Then from there, I ended up in the city as a marketing manager for communications, and then worked my way up to where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, COVID, I think, was just a crazy time for anybody in any profession, right? I mean, we in the fire department experienced things we had never done before, and with nobody really knowing where COVID was going to go, we didn't know much about it, right? And I know it was a scary time for a lot of people, but it sounds like you handled it pretty well, and it actually gave you more opportunity or more a position where you had opportunity to get to where you're at now, right? So with being with the city, what do you find like is the hardest thing? Because as we had previously just mentioned, like I see you when I would work out at the athletic club. I'd see you in the gym 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. Like you were one of the regular people that were there every day. Have you found it difficult with this new role to kind of maintain your discipline and level of fitness as far as, just maintaining a routine in reality,
I think it has been difficult, especially just for this position specifically. It's taking a lot more time. Now I have to really think outside the box and try to focus on my team and growing them as leaders. So it definitely does take more effort, more time. I'm consistently tired, but as far as getting up in the morning and showing up, I think I've been able to do that pretty regularly. I think it takes a certain amount of drive, not just motivation, because people say I'm not motivated to get there. I need to get motivated. It's not motivation. It's discipline. It's making yourself get up, showing up, giving whatever you got that day. It doesn't have to be 100%, maybe 20% that day. But as long as you showed up and made effort, I think that's what makes all of the difference. Yes, I think there's moments and times where you can't commit completely 100% focus on fitness, and that's why this year decided to take the year off. I'm not competitively bodybuilding. I'll be doing that next year, so I am setting that time next year. But I knew this year for myself, I'm in the growing phase, I'm in the learning phase with my career, so I have to balance it out. Yes, I'm still at the gym, but I'm not able to do 2-a-days like I normally would. I'm not able to consistently meal prep as I should, but then again, I'm using an excuse because yes, I can. So I think it's just self accountability. Once you have that, I don't see you letting that go. Yes, it's going to vary here and there, certain time frames throughout your life, but I think I've been pretty consistent still.
Yeah.
Being that with that taking that year off or taking this year off, do you miss it?
I do miss it.
Yeah.
It's bugging me. I'm like, I can't wait to start again.
Yeah.
I need to be lean. I need to be back in the gym. I need to be committed. I think it's a part of me, and I think it helps drive me, not only just my lifestyle but my career. If I'm not physically fit, active, and healthy, then I cannot be at the top of my game in my career.
It plays into like everything else.
Yeah.
It
Like
does.
if that's the top, then it's like everything underneath it just like.
So
it affects that.
I love two things that you said right there. Number one, and we've talked about this before, T, is some days, and we talk about it in jiu-jitsu, right? Some days you're going to be the hammer, and some days you're going to be the nail. And some days you just have to show up and get through it. And the days that you don't want to go often are the times where you surprise yourself by how much you actually have left in the tank, or maybe it was just a psychological thing that you were feeling, and once you're able to complete it, it does so much for you, right? So that's number one. And number two, the fact that you said it, I think so many times people take physical fitness and think that it's purely a aesthetic thing. They don't realize the science behind what happens to your body on a molecular level, on a what is the word I'm looking for? Not
There's changes like
endorphins,
even
but
like in your, it's like a mental thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many hormones that get released when you are working out and that make you feel great. So if you can be disciplined in that aspect of working out, then it's just going to carry over to every other aspect of your life, which obviously, I mean, I'm pretty amazed because, like I said, I've known you for a while, but I really didn't know much about your background. And that's one of the things that one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on here. We kind of like interviewing people that we know, but we don't really know, and, what is surprising to me is how many times you've successfully changed your career paths, right? I mean, to go and get a degree, complete it, and then decide, nope, this isn't for me, have the confidence to jump into something else, do that, nope, I don't like that. Like, where does that confidence come from in reality? Because that's scary. To me, that's a scary thing. And I don't get scared by much, but where is that just something you're innately born with, or is something that your discipline is kind of forged? I mean, where does that come from?
I almost feel like it's a little bit of both. Yes, you have to be born with some type of confidence to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to keep trying. I don't care if it's something completely new. I'm going to drop what I'm doing. But at the same time, most of it has been just growth. I think a lot of times people say I've got a growth mindset because they're willing to try anything. But a growth mindset is not just willing to try everything. It is knowing that you're going to try, you're going to fail. You're not going to like some things. You're going to succeed. that it's not linear. So the growth mindset is accepting the fact that you might have some defeat, you might have some wins, you might have some losses, but being able to grow with that and have the confidence to start something new. So I think I've been able to develop a growth mindset that no matter what I try, as long as I pick something up from it, I'm going to succeed at it. So I'm never afraid to say, let's try something new. I didn't like this. It didn't work. No, I'd rather just try it. I know I'm going to gain something out of it and then keep moving.
That's awesome.
I think that's huge too, because like in the fire service, I'll just compare it to that. Like change is real hard. Like it's just rooted like in tradition and a bunch of like, we never did that before. Or this is how we've always done it. And it's kind of a fight, like always. And it's kind of, there's an expression that it's so true. It's like firefighters don't like change, but they don't like the way things are, you know? And it's like, it seems like, I know the example that you gave, like going down a road of one career and then like deciding or come into the realization that's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something that would be like huge, you know, like to change your whole outlook on what you want to do. And I guess my question is like, I guess change, you're not afraid to change.
No, I'm not afraid of change. I think you were born with a mind that can do many things. You're born with a body that can do many things. Why not try everything and everything? Think in different ways that you've never thought of before. So there is really no failure in that. It's just unlocking a new side of you.
But where does that come from? Like because you can say that and understanding, and I'm just trying to get to understand you now, right? Because like for me, I can say, well, I've become what I've become because of this moment in my life, that moment in my life, these experiences, these hardships. Did you experience any hardships like that? And we don't have to get personal with it, but if you want to, feel free. But did you experience anything like that, or was it just something that gradually, with that you've like I said, had in there, that with every success you kind of knew that there was going to be an opportunity that you might fail?
I guess this is where we go deep. So was a teen mom. I had my first kid at 15, second one at 16, 17. So I had two by the time I graduated. Was put into that statistic. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to graduate. You're going to graduate high school. And, ended up in housing, ended up on food stamps, ended up on the whole welfare system. But obviously that's not the life I wanted. So you persevere. I knew that I needed to make a change. I was not going to be stuck in a routine that you don't get out of. So of course it's tackling school, it's tackling juggling 2 jobs at a time while I'm trying to finish my bachelor's, my master's. It's watching those around me. I'm not saying that my family didn't support, because yes, they did when they could, but I did not want to consistently ask, like, no, I put myself in this situation. It's time for myself to get it out. So worked hard. I went to school, did multiple jobs, side jobs here or there. Graduated. I learned a lot just based on the people that I was watching. So I had some people that I'd see or admire and be like, I'm going to get there. I'm going to do what they're doing. I'm going to try to do the same things that they're doing to get me there. But then I also just witness people that are constantly in a rut. And I'm like, I know that's not what I'm going to do. Right. So I'm not going to follow in that path. I'm not going to stay stuck. I'm not going to use excuses. So I think that comes with more of like a sink or swim mentality. If you don't try it and you're just stagnant, you're going to fail.
Right.
So why not keep trying new things? And I think that's where it comes from. I can't say that I had a traumatic life of event or anything that happened to me per se. It's just I knew what type of lifestyle I wanted to provide to my family. I knew what it took to get there, and I knew what it took to keep me in a place that I did not want to be. So I made sure that I tried anything and everything to get me to where I want to be.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I've got a newborn at 40, and I know it's hard as hell. So I couldn't imagine having two. And my wife, she had her daughter at 18, but there's still a huge difference between 15, 16, and then having two right off the bat. Did you have that support at home, as far as, because I'm just trying to think how in the hell you did that in the first place. Like, that's crazy, the fact that you were able to accomplish so much with that. Because let's be real, most women that go through that do become a statistic, and you obviously have not.
Mm-hmm. I did have the support from family at home. They were very encouraging, but I don't think that they even knew that I could make it this far. I even talked to my dad now, and he's like, I didn't think you'd get there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean I'm not done?
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
not
There you
done.
go.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm still moving.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's just having the courage in yourself. I know that everyone thought I was going to fail. I know
Right.
everyone was like, she's not going to get anywhere, or he's not going to get anywhere. We're still together. We're still have our tight knit family. We're successful.
So your husband
Yes,
now is.
Yes,
Oh,
we're still
wow.
together.
That's-
16 years later.
that is
teen
awesome.
parents, teen.
Yes.
He's my high school sweetheart, and we're
Yeah.
still together.
That's awesome.
So there's
That's awesome.
never been an issue. He's had so much growth himself too.
It's like y'all grew up together. It's
We
like you had to
did.
grow up fast.
Quickly.
Well,
Right.
that I think alone is what's so amazing about the situation too. Is the fact that you both were not the people you are now, and at that time, who knows which way you could have went. I'm sure there were hardships within just figuring that out, but damn, you guys, I know you had been with him since as long as I've known you, but I didn't know that he was your baby daddy, so to speak. Right?
I know, and I sometimes don't like having that conversation because it's like, oh, you are a teen mom. They start painting a sob story or painting me in this picture, and I hate getting put into a box like, well, she had it hard. How did she do it? I don't want to be seen differently. Put me in the same competition that you put someone that has the privilege to be wealthy. Like, I'm in that same game,
Right.
I'm still going to pass you because I know I'm going to give it more.
Well, that's admirable, but I still think that's like a badge of honor to be able to go through that and come out as successful as you have. And like you said, you're not done. You're still climbing. To anything. If anything, I mean, your kids to see that. To know their story of their mom and what it true and their dad, and to know that this is how you persevere, this is how you fight, and if you do, good things happen. And obviously, they're happening for you. So that's amazing to hear that. I'm still kind of like taken aback by it because of how successful you are. The fact that happened to you. I shouldn't say happened to you because obviously it's a blessing, right? But it's a blessing that most would want to have a little bit later on.
I guess
right?
it's not your traditional lifestyle. It's what they
No,
tell you not to do. But
But that's the thing today. Like, and I am in a situation. Tony is in a situation where like we don't have the traditional family is not really existent, so to speak, in these days. Whether it be something that happened like with you, or whether a divorce situation, or it's or stepping up as a step parent, and having a mixed family. But I mean, damn, you figured it out. You figured it out.
maybe I don't have everything figured out, but we're trying. I think it's important that yes, we keep traditional values, but as far as what does a traditional relationship or lifestyle need to look like, I don't think there's any right answer. I think you make what you can out of it. I think now, I mean, look at us. We've got my son's turning 16 in January. My daughter's 14. By the time we're 18, we're still be in our mid-30s, being able to travel the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've got
There's some
our things out
advantages.
the
There's
way.
some advantages
There
to
is,
that.
exactly.
It seems like it was like the way that you're describing it was like kind of like a reverse engineered. Like you recognize like what you didn't want, and you like work towards like, I'm not gonna be this, and so like everything's gonna go towards like a different.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that go through a similar experience and yet they choose the wrong path. Instead of saying I don't want to do that, they're like, it's okay to do that, and they fall
Like you have an
into the
excuse.
system.
Like you didn't play into that at all.
Yeah,
Like that's what's
yeah.
the beauty of it,
And there are times where, I give myself excuses. No, I don't feel like doing it. No, I don't. I want to take the easier route. But I mean, that doesn't get you anywhere. That'll give you instant satisfaction, not long term. So I think I've been big on planning long term, knowing that I want certain things in life. I like a certain lifestyle. No one's going to give that to me besides me. So I need to make sure that I work on it. And I think I was very aware of that as I was younger. Where that came from exactly, I can't tell you.
Yeah. It sounds like you honestly like you were just kind of born that way. I mean, if it wasn't a situation where you automatically, I mean, we all have innate qualities and characteristics that we're born with, and it just sounds like that drive and determination to prove people wrong, number one, and then just be happy, right? Because that's what it all boils down to. I mean, we talk about it all the time on here, where it's like choose your hard, right? Is it the hard of getting up at 6 a.m. and making it to the gym that you want to deal with, or is it the hard of heart problems and being obese and diabetes and all that stuff that you want to play with later on? And it really is just a choice, that we all have to make, and that we're all faced with. And you have obviously, forged this discipline about yourself that has not only made you successful in your career path, but also outside with your bodybuilding pursuits. And then even in the kickboxing, like to first come to a gym and get comfortable, and the coaches get comfortable enough with you to trust you to lead a class. Like that's a pretty big accomplishment, so it seems like every facet of life that you're attacking head on, and you're kicking ass,
Thanks.
So but I do want to talk about that. We're trying to change modes a little bit, because one thing I was telling Tony that was pretty cool is I was like, man, at the gym, I always saw you and you were real like quiet. I mean, you talk to people, but definitely you're talking a lot more now. So this is a cool side to see of you. But I remember when you would do like some of the MMA classes, and I mean, first of all, being in an MMA gym or a jiu-jitsu gym, whatever you want to term it, kickboxing gym, it's intimidating. So what got you to first walk in? Let's start with that. How did you hear about Weapons at Hand? Was it, something that you had always been wanting to try as far as the kickboxing? Like what got you in the doors?
I don't know how else to explain this besides I thrive on pressure, on pain, on competition, and putting myself in the most, intimidating environments is where I thrive. So I was like, that looks kind of scary. Let's go try it.
Yeah,
wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's not normal.
No.
I don't know what it is. Even since I was a kid, I don't know. I always wanted to compete, whether it was in my math classes. Like, I know the answer. Call on me.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be at the top. I don't know what it is. As far as kickboxing, I think I was just going through a little rough time at that time. I was super busy with my college classes. I was having a hard time finding the right position, the right career. That was one of those things where I'm trying to find myself. I have 2 toddlers at home. There's not enough time for me. I didn't know who exactly I was. So kickboxing kind of strengthened that discipline. Yes, I was competitive and disciplined before, but the MMA and the kickboxing classes took it to a whole nother level.
Were you doing strength training at that time, or you just went into that?
It was light strength training before that.
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't as disciplined. I hadn't competed. I hadn't done much of anything.
Yeah.
So
this was your first kind of step into that
was my
physical fitness and that
intense
part of it.
Physical fitness. Yeah. I was pretty. I'd say I live a fairly active lifestyle even prior.
Oh, okay.
But never have I been super disciplined the way that Weapons at Hand is. Did not push myself to those limits before. So Rudy's class, just enjoying the class in general with everyone. I know. Shout out to Peter, who always kicks my ass. He pushed me. Pat always pushed me. You guys always pushed me. I think knowing that I was always going to be pushed past my limits is what I enjoyed. I don't like you're doing a great job.
Like
keep
enjoyed it
going.
in the moment, or like enjoyed it when you were done, like after it's like
After.
Because in that moment it's like not.
Well, and that's one thing that like you went and you started with the kickboxing, and I think did you start with just the female kickboxing class?
I started with the female kickboxing class. I'm like, oh, this is great. Let me get it down. But what's that side? That's the real side.
Yeah, and then so you did that. You started doing the kickboxing, and then I would see you even doing the MMA stuff, and that's where I was like, you always, because the women that do that, especially if like they don't want to fight. Let me rephrase this. Usually, the only women that try to do that MMA class are women that have ambitions or goals of actually competitively fighting.
I do.
Oh, so you?
I did.
Okay, cool.
I was there.
Okay, because
really
I was gonna say
to.
you were in there like you did want to, and so I didn't know if that was something that you had, that you wanted to pursue, or was it just something that you were like, you know what, I'm just going to test myself as well?
It started off with just a test. Like, how can I get good at this to where it's something that I can try to pursue? Because I know the commitment that goes into it.
Right.
I know the time that it takes to go to it. And I was not sure. The more I tried it, the more I got more confident in the skills, the more I wanted to chase after it. I think I got injured at a certain point, and that's what caused me to pause and put a little step back.
That makes it hard.
Then it ended up not going as much and kind of just left it alone for a while. But it's still something that I have not put away. It's there on the back burner. It's something I want to get back into. I did want to competitively do MMA one day. So never know. That might be down the line.
Well, yeah, let us know. Let us know. We'll be there to help out because I know, like you said, I always tell people you don't ever want to look back at the end of your life and be like, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that, and the one thing people say, and it's hard. It's a hard balance. And my good friend, Victor Vargas, who's a retired firefighter now, he drove for us at Station 1 downtown for a long time. But the one thing he would tell me is that nobody ever sits on their deathbed and says, I wish I would have worked more, right? It's always like, I wish I would have spent more time with my family. I wish I would have traveled here. I wish I would have gone to this or
tried
done
different
that.
things.
Tried different things. And the hard part about it is obviously success is what's success in a profession, in a job atmosphere is going to get you the freedom to be able to do those things. But it's definitely a balance that we have to find, and especially fighting at the time. Now I look back and I've finally gotten to a point in my life where I'm able to kind of balance the two. But number one, it takes discipline, and it takes a unrelenting and unwilling desire to like not waste time on things that really don't matter. I mean, I've told people on this forever, and not hating on anybody or talking shit to anybody that has a favorite TV show or watches, but I literally don't watch TV because I don't have time. Like, the only time I have to watch TV is at the end of the night when I'm
going to sleep.
That's
the only time.
And that's just, and it's just because even before, like right now I'm studying for promotion, but even before that, it was like I'm doing shit with the gym, or I'm training, or, if we do go out somewhere where we're, spending time with the wife and the kids, and that's where all my time goes, so, juggling everything. Now let's kind of like switch back, right? Because, you made a comment about your kids kind of having to adapt to it, and, your husband, I'm sure as well, having to adapt. How do you juggle everything? I mean, because here's what I want to get at is you have to find time for you, right? You have to find that time. And it's so easy to get engulfed by your goals and ambitions in your job, especially in a job like you've just taken on. And then now the spare time I have to give to my kids and my husband and make sure they're happy. And then where does that leave me, right? So like, how do you figure all that out?
I think you're right, though. You can't waste time on things that don't matter. So I don't watch TV. I don't waste time on social media. Yes, I do sometimes for my job, but it's not a waste of time.
Right.
I'm doing my job.
Right.
But I don't waste time on worrying about what drama's going around, what's happening here. I worry about work, my fitness, my family. That's it. If there's no need to put that in my life, I'm not going to waste time on it. I think also having good communications with everyone around you was important. I made sure that my family knew that fitness was a priority. So it's kind of difficult sometimes because they're not into fitness like I am.
That's what I was going to ask.
They're not gym enthusiasts. We do not share the same interests. So at first it was a struggle to make everyone understand. But I tell them, look, if I don't put myself first, this is for my mental health, not just physical, mental. If I don't put my mental health first, I'm not going to be able to succeed in my career. I'm not going to be able to be the best mom, be the best wife that I can be. So I need everyone to understand, please do not cut into my time, which I do in the morning before everyone's asleep. Wake up at 3:30, get to the gym by 4:30, or maybe before that if I can. get home by 6:30, start getting ready for work, and that's it. As long as they understand that I'm not cutting into family time to do my gym time. So please don't cut into my gym time for anything else, then we're good. I noticed that it's communicating that to everyone around you, especially when it comes to competition season. I'm asked to go out to eat, go to family barbecues. Well, why don't you try what I made you? I can't, and I think it also has to do with a lot with the culture around here, the Hispanic culture.
Absolutely.
Where everyone gets together for a barbecue, gets together for a dinner. That's something that you just do. You eat, you hang out together. It's a part of the lifestyle.
So true. That's so true.
So it's hard to work around that sometimes, but I think communicating that up front, and that's what I've been doing. Like, hey, next year it's competition season.
You're warning them. Yeah, you're warning them.
I'm going to have 2 days. I'm going to be a little bit cranky here and there, but it's something they know that I enjoy to do. And the more that I do anything related to fitness, the stronger I become in everything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are your goals in fitness and in competing competitively? Are you, just because I know it's so hard to get a pro card, Tony's wife is crazy dedicated, and I don't even think she has an off season. Like
she likes to stay lean, so she's always like in a cut of some sort. But we've gone for the last 4 or 5 years. We've gone to national shows. We've been to Pittsburgh and Anaheim, and it's intense.
So you sound like a busy husband supporting that.
Oh yeah, I love going to shows. They're awesome. They're fun to watch.
They are.
And it's really done so much like for our whole family, because like you were talking about the food. For years and years and years, I just ate whatever I wanted and worked out hard, right? And I could do that when I was young, but as I got older, it was tough. And I learned a lot from her about nutrition and us just not going to restaurants. Like we don't really eat out. I mean, the kids eat trash. Whatever. I mean, the fast food that everybody
get away with it.
They're Chick-fil-A and McDonald's, and that's their stuff. But we cook a lot of our own food, and so that's what is huge. But yeah, I think you said it best. I know for her, and I know like it was nice to hear early in this podcast. You said you distinguish between motivation and discipline, because that's been like a big topic we always have. Like motivation comes and goes. You can be motivated for a little while, it'll go away, it'll wear away, right? Discipline is what keeps you like on point. Bodybuilding is just so much discipline involved, and I know for her, and I've noticed like it has to do with control too. Like you're in control of everything that goes in your mouth. You're in control of every workout that you do. And you feel good, mentally when you have that. It's like when she's like not in a cut or not in prep, it's like you feel out of control when you're just eating whatever, like, and not whatever, but you're still trying to make good choices, but you're at a restaurant and you're kind of like, man, I could have my own food and I know exactly what I'm eating, and now I'm having to eat this and feel out of control. Mm-hmm. But that discipline carries over in so many other things, school, work, family, and everything else. So it's just, as hard as it is, I know that it pays off,
And that's exactly why I do it. I can't say that I'm going to get my pro card one day, because honestly, I don't know if I have enough time.
Are you doing bikini? Are you doing bikini or wellness or
wellness?
Wellness? Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know if I have enough time for that. I know what it takes to do it. I know I can compete competitively because I have I can set those times for it. But in a professional level, I'm not sure if I'd ever have the actual time just trying to juggle my career. But I still do compete because, just like you mentioned, it carries on over through everything. And I think it forces you to keep your mindset in check. Because I think every now and then, every single one of us, no matter how disciplined we are, we've got those times where we kind of just question ourselves, like, why am I getting up? I don't feel like it. I'd rather be in bed. I don't feel like eating right now. And competitive bodybuilding just kind of keeps me in check. It gets my mindset back to, no, you're going to get up. You don't have a choice. You've got this. And then you're getting judged out on stage based on what they think you look like. Right. So it's more reason, like, if you miss a morning lift, or if you eat that, you're going to look like shit next to people that are going to look amazing. Right. And you only did that to yourself.
And you said it earlier too. It's like, even if you're at 20%, you still like go, you still show up, you still get a workout in. And that does so much for you. as opposed to like not doing it. How shitty do you feel the rest of the day? It's like, I missed this morning. I
Yeah.
ate trash or whatever for lunch. Like, it's like now I'm like so behind.
Well, but
You know?
the thing of it is as a society, we've almost gotten so soft to just like accept that feeling, right? Like to accept the fact that the majority does that, so it's okay. I'm okay, and you know, one of the main reasons we have this podcast is to promote going against that, right? Going against that standard, setting higher standards, and not just sitting at the standard, because that seems to also be a thing that people like to do. It's like, well, I worked out twice a week, I'm good, you know, or whatever. And you know, to anybody that's not working out, we're always preaching like, hey, just get started, do something simple. But then we also are telling people like, you have to set new goals. You have to constantly be. We're not meant to live sedentary lifestyles. We're not meant to stay stagnant and just stay in place. We're meant to thrive and to live. And I mean, we see it in our profession. You know, there's something called like a failure to thrive when there's, whether it be a child or a older person, that their body is just quitting on them. And, you know, that I believe the failure to thrive starts so much earlier, and it's a cumulative thing that as we get older and as we progress, we stop moving, and everybody just makes age as an excuse, you know. And here I am, and it's funny because, you know, I went to my daughter's sorority deal, and this weekend we have a thing called it's like the sorority dad's day, and she asked me to go, and so we're gonna play putt-putt, and I'm like, I'm so competitive too. I'm like, we're gonna fuck all those old dudes up, you know, like we're gonna kick ass. But it's like, I look at those guys, and there's very few that obviously have taken the time to actually like take care of themselves physically, right? And that's just a place that I don't ever want to,
You know,
sit
and
at.
something I don't understand is there's a lot of people that I'm sure even ask you, like, how do you do it? You are my motivation. You encourage me. You inspire me. But then I don't see them doing anything after that. It's
Right.
like, why are you so fixated on something you want, but
Not
making
willing
it
to
someone
do it.
else's responsibility
Yeah.
to encourage you to go? Like, it has to come out of you. I get a lot of people asking me, take me to the gym, or essentially keep me accountable. But you know, I don't have that time. I'm not a coach. Like, it is all something that you want to do. It has to come from you. And I think it takes just that first step. Just wake up, get up, show up. It'll eventually come. I see that so much, and I just don't understand it. Why don't you just do it?
I think part of it is people want instant gratification and instant satisfaction. You know, we live in a day and age where it's, if I want food, I don't even have to get my fat ass off the couch. I can just order it through, you know, Uber Eats or, you know, Favor or something like that. And you know, as far as working out, like,
It takes a long time.
it takes
to
a
strength, and
but that's something that I try to tell people is like, when you walk in, when I show up to somebody's house and I'm a firefighter, and you see me standing before you, and then you see another guy that obviously hasn't taken care of himself, like, it's not only saying something about the way I physically look, but it's saying something about the discipline, the respect I have for the job, the effort that I put in. Like, that's something that I don't think people realize when it comes to physical fitness, is your body speaks volumes towards other people, right? And we've gotten so comfortable with this dad bod mentality, and with this idea, like I said, that the older you get, it's just natural, you know, way things happen. And there's so many people out there that are like, I don't want to look like that. But like you said, they're not willing to do it because they want the fast fix. They want the, what's that, Ozempic pill, or they want the
shot.
You know, the shot, whatever it is. It's like they want that fast fix. And what they don't understand is that something gained with very little effort isn't appreciated.
Yep.
You know, it's just, that's the hard part about parenting, right? Is I'm sure our kids all have much more than we did at their age. but a lot of what we went through and the struggles and the that gives us the appreciation for what we have. So it's trying to find that balance as a parent between giving them too much to where you're hindering their growth and, you know, making them suffer to a point that's really unnecessary.
It's probably the hardest part about parenting. It's like you don't want them to suffer.
'Cause you want your kids to have
but
everything.
it's like some of that suffering
is good.
that turns them into who they are.
Well, and we've talked about it. That's why it's good to put them in sports. That's why it's good. You know, my daughter does cheer. She did jujitsu. You know, this one is just gonna do jujitsu. I already told Ashley that it's free and we're not paying. You know, for the
not like cheer.
No. So she's jujitsu and volleyball. That's what we're gonna do with this one. But you know, that's the thing of it is you know, it's refreshing and it's awesome to see people that are taking a stand. I'm a little more vocal, I would say, and I talk a lot of shit, but you know, actions speak louder than words, and that's what I see you, and I see you taking action. I see you doing it, setting the example by the way you're living your life, and you know, you're exactly right. Like, people look towards people like you, people like me, people like Tony, and they're like, you know, hey, help me out with this, or write me a plan, or blah, blah, blah. I've done it before. I've written whole workouts, and guess what? After a week, they're like, hey, did you do that weight cut? Or they change it up, and I'm like, why the fuck are you asking me for help if you're just going to totally go against
the other
what I
backhanded
said,
compliment that I've heard, I don't know how many times, is like, hey, you look great. What are you taking?
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
I'm on a stair climber for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not taking
Yeah.
anything. Like, you
Yeah.
see me here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not taking anything. Like, what are you
Well,
taking?
and that's the funny thing is, because I tell people all the time, like, I'm a huge advocate of TRT, because I, about 35, 36, I started taking it, and it was like, for me as a man, it was life changing. Like, my levels were in the tank.
But that's not what they're asking. I mean, that's not.
Oh, no, but some guys will literally say that. They'll be like, oh, it's because you're on this. I'm like, bitch, I know 10 other guys that are on it don't look like me, and it's because they're just taking the shot acting like it's going to be some magic pill, and it's not. You have to put in the work, you know. All the testosterone does for me is it allows me to train hard, not feel like I'm dragging ass all day, get good sleep instead of tossing and turning all night. But it does nothing about when that ringer goes off. I still got to answer the call at 4:30, 5 in the morning. I still got to go to the gym. I still got to, you know, be disciplined in those areas. And, you know, I just think a lot of people want that
quick fix.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think I would consider both of you guys, even myself, an extremist, but it took a lot for us to get here. And I think people are seeing that end result. Like, how do I get there? Well, let me tell you everything that goes into it. It's not beautiful. It's not always fun. No, I'm not always excited and happy about everything that goes into it. It takes work, and I don't think people like that answer.
Yeah.
But
no, you're right. They don't. They you know, and there's something about putting in the work and reaping the reward that makes it so satisfying, as opposed to just getting something and I can vouch for it. When I was younger and I was just given things, I mean, I had a vehicle when my grandparents bought me my first vehicle, and I was like, I treated that thing like shit. I mean, I ended up wrecking it and putting it into a tree because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. You know, I thought, and then when I didn't have a vehicle and they couldn't just go and buy me another one, and it was nothing fancy. I mean, I think they paid, actually my uncle and my two uncles bought it for me. It was like $800, a 1982 Bonneville. And I love that thing. It was like a big
like
old
a boat,
tank.
right?
Yeah. We would go like 12 deep in there. Like, it was awesome.
They're true Mexicans.
But the thing about it was, like, I didn't realize, like, all my friends, we were going 12 deep because none of them had vehicles. Like, yeah, it was old, but I was looking at all my other friends that had nice cars and nicer vehicles, and I didn't really appreciate it until I didn't have it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to tell people about fitness is it's like, it's never too late until it is. And that moment where it is going to be, well, you know, you hurt too much to do it. You're too overweight. You're too, you know, and you've got to start before it gets that hard, because it is. We're all going to slow down. Unfortunately, like, as much as I like to think I'm going to be, you know, kicking ass until I'm 80.
I was about
like,
to say that. Don't tell me that. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're now, I'm gonna be like them 7-year-olds in the athletic club, like still, moving them weights, the 5-pounders, 10-pounders, whatever. I'm gonna be hanging out. No, I'm not gonna do that. Some of those guys, I'm just like, bro, just go lift some weights. But it's one of those things where I definitely feel that when you establish that discipline and you kind of draw the line in the sand and say, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna back down. It really makes it easier to accomplish those things. And when you can be as disciplined as you are to do the fitness competitions, I mean, to me, that's one of the hardest things out there. We've had bodybuilders on here before, and, as a fighter, cutting weight was the absolute worst. That's the worst part of fighting. But the discipline that it takes, I don't think there's anybody else other than maybe a bodybuilder that could really understand.
Because it's your whole life. It's everything.
You're counting calories,
your food.
Yes, you're looking at how much your food weighs, for God's sakes. Like because it's all a science. Once again, you go back to where people are asking you, how do I do it? It's really not that hard to figure out. You just have to take the time to have these numbers, and then there's apps that you can plug your shit into and follow them. And
all of it is super easy. Yeah. The hard part is the mental battle. And I think bodybuilding and MMA are the two toughest by far sports, because you're in a battle with yourself. Yes. You're in a battle with just you. You're in the cage and it's you. You want to stop. You want to give up. You want to quit. You're in a headlock or something, which I've been in, and you just want to stop. Even with bodybuilding, it's like you're on the Stairmaster for 50 minutes. You've got 20 more minutes. You want to stop. It is all a mental battle. So I think those two sports, just to me, it's like you can't blame anybody but yourself.
Right.
And that's what makes it the most rewarding. And I think that's why I'm drawn to both of those, MMA and bodybuilding. You mess up, blame yourself. Yeah. There's nobody else to blame but you. You succeed, you reward yourself because you're the one that did it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing about jiu-jitsu that we've seen a lot, and you always know those guys that come in, they're ready to take on the world, like, especially the guys that just want to start sparring right off the bat. Like, hey, can I spar? I'm like, how much experience do you have? Oh, I used to box a little bit. I'm saying, well, we need to evaluate you first, and no. And then you put them in there and it's like, dude, they don't want none, because, the thing about jiu-jitsu and about fighting in general is you have to humble yourself. Mm-hmm. You can't just jump on in and think that you're just going to be, king shit, because that's not the way it works, especially in our gym where we have very credible athletes. But it's one of those deals where I think shit, I just lost my train of thought because I was gonna.
Where it's just not easy. It's not easy to just go in there and just that's like you both described. Like,
and that's what makes them so unique.
Well, there's a difference between ego and strategic strength. I think ego speaks loudly, and yes, you can be the loudest, the biggest in the room, but strategic strength is going to get you a lot further. Yeah. That's I think is the real win, is once you have control of your strength, have control of power, can put your ego in check, and that's when you really win.
Wow.
I think that's
I've never heard that before. I like that, strategic strength. Well, we're almost wrapping up here, but before we do, I did want to talk to you about one other thing. You got that your new show that we the Coastal Bend's first cooking show, right? And it's Coastal Cocina. Is that
It's called Coastal Cocina.
Nice. And so, how did that pop up? Like where? I mean, you're taking on this role, and now you're taking on a role of doing the show. Like it's like you're going all in, because I mean, obviously some people would be like, hold on, let's wait on this. Let me get my, let me get settled in here first. And next thing I know, it's like, nope, you're doing it all. So how did that idea pop up?
So this is what one of the departments, gas department, wanted to launch. They've been wanting to launch a cooking show. So the communications works closely with a variety of different departments. We try to support them, make sure that the community is aware of the positive things, because like we mentioned, everyone complains about Corpus that we don't got things going on. So I really tried thinking outside of the box. How can we promote positive things that are going on? Stop making everything so negative, because there is some growth. Yes, of course, we've got some things that we need to fix. Right. But with all things, like, there are people that work that are trying hard to make Corpus a better place. So the cooking show is a collab with the gas department, Del Mar College, and local chefs. We're trying to promote local small business growth, economic development, the culinary school, and give some educational tips about gas and just other things in general. And you'll see as we go throughout the show. But it was really a way to promote some positive services, to try to get the community engaged, but really make it lighthearted and fun.
Yeah,
and best part is I might get picked up from the Food Channel. You never know.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
For
You're
real.
ready.
You seem like a natural when you did it. I was
yeah.
watching it. I was like, man, you did really well in that first episode. And so where can people find that? Like, where do you go? Because I saw it on Facebook. But, is there a website? Is there...
So right now it's on all social media channels for the city, Facebook, Instagram. We're putting the link on LinkedIn, on the new X or Twitter. We also have it on CCTV. But that's it for now. It is your local show, eventually to get picked up, fingers crossed, by a national show. But no, we have a limited series going on. Right now we're just showcasing those chefs that are partnered with Del Mar. But... we've gotten a lot of requests to take it to some of the fire departments. So.
I was gonna say that was before
That's
even.
for sure.
I mean, definitely not me or my guys because we're not on that level. But there's definitely some firefighters that have literally prepared some of the best meals, out there. So that would be fun. That'd be cool to see.
I can see a spring show coming up where firefighters throw it down in the barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, most of us, we all like to eat, and all they ever show us is us beating the cops in that wing, the rib eating. And guys are so proud about that, and I'm like, oh, God, guys, that's not
the win that we were.
Let's win something that has to do with, like, sports or something, which, actually, we just had some of our ladies... do a CrossFit.
We had four of our female firefighters just win a female competition, CrossFit competition in San Antonio.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. We're gonna bring them on next.
And they're beasts. Like every single one of them's like they are legit.
They're tough.
That is awesome. I always wondered why the fire department doesn't host like a big competition here locally. Like what is it like to train with fire? Why don't you invite the community out to a fire style workout? Or boot camp training, see if we survive. Sounds like
something that
they we had some media go through, put bunker gear on, and do stuff at Del Mar when we first got our training facility. We did that, something similar to that, but that would be really cool. And there is a lot like on tomorrow, Toys for Tots. They're doing the police versus fire football game. It's an annual deal.
But we always kick their ass.
Yeah, we win everything.
Like every single year.
So it's at John Paul. Bring a toy. You don't have to, but if you want to come watch. You can come in. It's gonna be in the morning, and it's a good cause, and it's a flag football game.
I fully support because I'll be in the afternoon one at 11:30.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
So I'll be in the flag football game too later. Maybe I'll be there early to see you guys.
Well, we definitely appreciate you for coming by. I know that you made time for us, and we're glad to have somebody that, like I said, is so powerful, especially women. We're firefighters. We have a lot of male guests that come on, but it's nice to highlight women and show that realistically, like, you guys are super powerful, and to see a woman that has gone through stuff that you have and thrived and excelled is really powerful. And I think there's a lot of women out there, a lot of young ladies out there, whether it's our listeners or whether it's some of our listeners' family or maybe they know somebody,
their children. Like,
there's definitely somebody that can hear your story and relate to it, because it's a pretty powerful one. So I commend you on that, and thank you for coming in. But before we close, Tony, do you have anything left?
I got a few questions.
Okay.
I got notes. Any other projects other than the Coastal Cocina? Is there any other projects coming up that we could? There's a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas.
There's a lot of ideas coming from everywhere. I think the next thing is we want to start a podcast also for the city. Nice. So maybe we'll invite you guys out if we get that going.
The communications, there's some archive footage out there somewhere. We had a podcast that communications helped us with in the fire department, and it was called Shift Change. And it was right before COVID. We were doing it before COVID, And we used to go down to the basement of the city hall, and they set it all up for us. It was awesome. They,
Yeah, it was
they did
cool.
really good.
All right, so I know who to call then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eva's still there, and she helped us out a lot with it. And
Okay.
we had it all set up. They had it set. We'd try to get in there once a month. And Roger was a guest on that one. We did physical fitness.
It was great. I think
Yeah.
that people just didn't like it because their segments were like 3 hours long, and
Yeah, we got lengthy.
that's why, like, honestly, like we keep our stuff pretty short. I think the longest we'll have is maybe like an hour and a half, because you do find that, after about an hour of talking, people generally start to get, a little
Attention span.
yeah.
Oh,
it
yeah.
starts to go.
That's a good idea, though. That would be great. We would tune in for sure. You should do that. And I think more of a comment is like the innovation, like it's pretty innovative, like coming up with new stuff. And I've been with the city for almost 22 years. And so I will say that the recent like change and all my interaction with Logan has been awesome. Like everything that you guys are doing, like all the events that you host, like there's a new, it's recognized that there's like a new level of like enthusiasm and excitement.
It's almost like a culture shift.
It really is, and we recognize it, and we try to be involved. But and even like optimism, same thing too. Like we have a new fire chief, and I know that when he was chosen, it was like enthusiasm and his optimism, and it just like it's contagious, and it just like it just everybody gets on board. So I just wanted to tell you that it's recognized with all the stuff that you guys are doing. You guys are doing great, and I hope that continues, because it really would. It's gonna eventually. What happens is people recognize that, like outside of the city, like people that are watching and know what's going on, and it becomes like a great place. All that stuff going on downtown, also, it's like everything's kind of like coming together. And we recognize it.
I think we've got a great team. I think Fire's got a great team. I've been meeting with a lot of you guys. We've got a really cool project coming out that you're a part of.
Yeah, I'm excited about
the
that.
calendar
I tried to
collab.
get him in there too. He didn't want. He didn't.
Honestly, I was looking at the sign-up sheet. I was like,
I gotta be
told
honest.
him.
I can't even stand my dogs, much less. So I was like, that's probably one of my biggest flaws.
Well, and you would have been a good candidate, because everyone that showed up loved dogs and wanted to take like all those dogs home with us. And so that was like the worst.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's a really cool, another innovative project that you guys came up with. That's going to be, I think it's going to be great.
So the launch date should be about December 15th or so. We're going to be giving out these calendars, but they're pretty amazing. I mean, you've got heroes on one side and little paw babies on the other. You know?
Yeah,
it's
that's
super
awesome.
exciting.
That's awesome.
Roger, we can still squeeze in a photo shoot.
Yeah, I'll get you in there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one thing I'll stay away from. I have a bad experience with dogs, so I got my
And he's got 3 here.
And I got 3. Yeah, but I can't stand one of them. And
There's
he can't
cats.
stand me. Those are
there
even
was.
worse.
Yeah,
Those are even worse. I go to my daughter's daycare to pick her up, and there's this cat it's like an inside outside cat, and it always comes up to me and like starts brushing against my leg. And one day Cynthia was there, and she was like looking at me, and she's like, "Daddy, I saw that cat." Like, and because I'm like, it's there, and I'm just like trying to get away from it, and then it just keeps coming up to. God did not give me with that. I care about people, but pets, they serve a purpose. That's why I got a pit bull, so they can protect the house.
Yeah.
But no. Well, Cecilia, is there anything that you any shout outs? And we always like to give the last a couple minutes to our guests, to whether it's promote something, give shout outs, say thank yous, or not say anything. We've had that too. So now's your kind of your time.
Honestly, thank you to just everyone that's been a part of my growth. From the coaches at Weapons at Hand, the gym where Patrick now owns. They've all been very supportive. People from the athletic club, just different gyms that I met. They've all been very supportive and involved in my growth. They've seen me from my start, seen me to where I am now, and they know, I'm not done.
Yeah.
Not only in the gym, but in my career. And I think same goes for my career. I've had a lot of mentor style friendships. One being Logan. She's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
She's got an aura about her and makes everything positive. And I think surrounding yourself with people like that really keep the morale up in anywhere you go. And I think that goes in line with fitness too. If you're trying to improve in your fitness lifestyle and improve in your career, surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. I think it'll change the world for you. It makes such a difference. You become positive. You become the way that you want to become. So shout out to everyone who's supported in any way. And of course, shout out to my family. They've been my biggest support. I know I can be very hangry at times. I've been very busy. They're patient with me. I've got a lot of events to attend, so they know I need to juggle them quite a bit. But all of my family has been very supportive. So yeah,
All right. Well, it sounds like you have an amazing support system. Props to your husband and your kiddos for supporting you in the way they have, because I'm the first to say that without that support at home, it's so hard to be successful. Oftentimes the ones that we love are kind of the ones that we neglect a little bit on that way to success, even though it's for them. But in the end, without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. So,
Agreed.
Thank you for coming on. I'm excited to see what else you have to bring as far as the communication side to the city, and
Maybe one day fight camp.
yeah. We'll definitely not count that out. So, to all you guys out there watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Thank you for listening on all our platforms, and that's all I got for today. So, till next time, as we say, charge that line.